Next up on the Viking star, ancient Mediterranean treasures, the lost city of Troy, the legendary site of the Iliad, and main character energy Achilles and Patroclus. Learn why this was the low point of the cruise, and why I was okay with it. Coming up. Hello, I'm Jeffrey Gard with The Whole Traveler, and today we are talking about the ruins of Troy and Çanakkale, Turkey. But first, if you're new, this is part of a video series, My First Viking Cruise, where I chronicle my adventures on the Viking star and the cruise, Ancient Mediterranean Treasures. I also include our 3-day pre-extension in Athens and our 3-day post-extension in Istanbul. Check out all the videos on my playlist and check out my website articles where I share recommendations for each day. And you can also download PDFs of the shore excursions and the Viking dailies on my website. So we didn't arrive into the port of Çanakkale until our scheduled 11 a.m. docking time. That was perfectly fine with us. We were reaching that point of exhaustion that comes with long vacations, that long duration point where you just need to decompress. We'd been traveling for over a week now and definitely needed some recharge time. So we had room service come later and we just had a lazy morning on the ship, taking our sweet time doing nothing, eating, lounging, reading, and watching the lectures. It was heaven to get 2.5 hours of more sleep and not have to rush around. As we finished getting ready, we pulled into port, and honestly, I was shocked by how desperately ugly and industrial looking the port of Çanakkale was. Oh my God, it had all the warmth and charm of a Russian gulag. Is that where we're going? So far in this cruise, I have definitely noticed that what the port looks like almost perfectly matches the actual experience. I mean, even Herakleon's port, which was also not a looker, was nicer with the welcome tents that they put and some of the decorative touches compared to what we were looking at now, which was just pure industrial ugliness. Here at Çanakkale, it was just a slab of concrete, rust, and industrial things laying around. This was disappointing because the early morning voyage of getting to Çanakkale was actually quite lovely. Soon enough, we disembarked the ship and we were ready for the excursion, which was of course the free one, TRCAK01, Çanakkale and Troy. In this excursion, we were going to visit the ruins of Troy and enjoy some time at the waterfront in Çanakkale. This excursion was slightly different from the one in Kusadasi because on this one we were given city passes, essentially temporary paper visas that allowed us to be in Çanakkale and in Troy. You're obviously going to need them on your person if you're going to be, in Turkey, in Çanakkale, so always have them with you. And when you get back to the ship, they're going to make you surrender them. So just know that in advance. My excitement in visiting Troy sank when we boarded the shuttle bus. Oh my God, it was by far the grubbiest and most disgusting bus that we had been on since the Viking excursion. Our seats in the immediate area around us, it was obvious it had not been clean, as they were also showing their wear and tear. It was just so grody and grubby. My terror of getting bed bugs from situations like this turned up a notch, and I had never been more grateful for Viking's laundry room service as I was at that moment. I was going to make it a point that when we got back to do laundry and wash whatever I was wearing that touched that fabric, I was just so skeeved out by it. Ooh. The drive, which again was about 30 minutes or so, was pleasant and it was nice enough, but it wasn't that same magical drive that we had in Kusadasi. If Kusadasi felt like a drive on the California coast, this one felt more like we were tucked away in a countryside, mixed with some larger urban areas. It wasn't ugly, but it wasn't nice like Kusadasi was. Okay, I'm gonna be frank with you. The ruins of Troy was a massive disappointment and would definitely mark the lowest point of the cruise excursions. I was genuinely excited about this particular excursion because I had just read the novel, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which does an exceptional job of framing the war of Troy through the eyes of Patroclus and Achilles. It wasn't just a best-selling novel, it's a beautiful, devastating love story set against the war and the waste of Troy, and it will definitely leave its mark on you with an appreciation for Troy. You can imagine my disappointment when turn after turn, all we saw were piles of ancient bricks, stones, holes, and scattered fragments of this and that. It was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I was hard on Knossos Palace for its paucity of structures, but Troy made Knossos look like the Parthenon by comparison. I mean, there was nothing here at Troy. Troy had been consumed by nature, buried away a long time ago, and it was discovered by a German treasure hunter who I'm not even going to dignify with a name, who excavated the site with dynamite. He used dynamite. His sole interest was looting the area for gold and treasure and not caring a whit for the actual site. From there, it was just plundered by locals for basic building blocks of stone. So there's not a whole lot to see. And of course, the saddest part of this excursion was that it didn't include the burial or memorial area of Achilles and Patroclus. We were on the site and the guide pointed into the distance. This picture, there's like these windmills that were spinning, and he's like, they're buried over there. I was devastated. One small highlight was a replica of the Trojan Horse. You can climb into it, up the ladder and have a look, but just be careful because it's super steep. It's like really climbing a ladder. It's not like climbing stairs. So just be careful. The views are okay, and that was basically the highlight of an otherwise lackluster excursion. It was really kind of depressing and sad. Another telltale sign that was a harbinger of bad things to come was that we saw no cats at Troy and Çanakkale. No cat society whatsoever. And that at once made me not like the place. I said what I said. I'm sorry, but no cat society, no deal. There were a bunch of homeless dogs, like gigantic dogs, that were running around, but there were zero cats. Visiting any place in Turkey with no cat society is like visiting a place in France with no bakery. It's cultural blasphemy, as far as I'm concerned. Fortunately, things got better once we got to the waterfront in Çanakkale. The bus took us to the port area, and that was just a lot more interesting. We had about a half hour to walk around the waterfront and frankly just people watch and just kind of observe the way locals kind of engaged in the area. And that was actually the best part of the port experience, of the excursion. What I appreciated the most was just getting to watch people. I seriously doubt that I'll ever find myself here in Çanakkale again. And so to kind of see families walking together, friends laughing, people fishing was meaningful to me. I love people watching. I love seeing how they live and constantly being reminded that here in this world away, their waterfront is really no different than mine in a lot of ways, you know? They also, one of the interesting points was that they had the Hollywood Trojan Horse from the Brad Pitt movie that was there on the waterfront for you to look at. The film studio had donated the horse to the city, so that was nice to see. You can't touch it, you can't go in it. But yeah, that was a nice little highlight. You know, and soon enough, it would all wrap up, and the timing could not have been more perfect because the storm clouds that had been looming over us the entire time were finally breaking and turning into some serious rain. So we were able to board the bus in time. We went back to port where the rain had dried up a little bit, giving us a wonderful rainbow and a delicious pink and ultraviolet sunset, which was so nice. Now, even though Çanakkale and Troy were disappointments, I honestly wasn't too upset. Every vacation has its low and its highs, and besides Crete, this frankly was the clear lowest point for me. Everything else had been relatively high. And so, at this point too, I was also starting to feel the psychic exhaustion, and to have just today to kind of be a relaxing, restful reset day, I was grateful for it, because coming our way, we would soon be in the wild, magical, and amazing Istanbul, which turned out to be the climax of the trip, and I can't wait to share that with you coming up.